Well. Here we are again. Welcome back. This is another Anime Degens BS Hour, episode 31. So today, guys, we are missing Tyler, so we're just gonna postpone Shokenpo results until next week. But we will be doing our Degen review of the One Piece live action that came out this previous week. So I, for one, was very tentative to want to watch it, but my boys got my back on this one.
Yeah, we had to make sure you took a look at it, man, because honestly, the adaptation was fantastic.
I was pleasantly surprised by it, for sure.
I've only watched a few anime live action
Mm-hmm.
versions, and just think about Cowboy Bebop. It lost the magic of that show, and I think what One Piece did really well is they did change some things,
Mhm.
but you didn't lose that sense of adventure. You didn't lose that sense of friendship. Relying on your crewmates, things like that, and I think they did a fantastic job with it.
Yes. And I want us to get into kind of what makes a good live action adaptation, and kind of seeing go thing by thing, and kind of go and see if did One Piece do this, because like you said, it's very uncommon for a live action to hit the mark or even get close to it, get in the same room or house with it, right? My most vivid memory with a live action is that of Avatar: The Last Airbender. And it was so poorly done. I felt like they changed a lot of the meanings to it. But just to start off, man, I think you've said this before, Dan. You got to have a budget. You have to have a decent ass budget. And this is simple math here, guys. One Piece had a budget of 17.27 million dollars US per episode. They dropped the bag. You know what I'm saying? They dropped the bag on this one. And I think that's enough to get you by. And I hope you feel the same way, Dan.
Yeah, definitely. But even so, we talked about the cost of it being important and having a budget to actually do it. But even the Cowboy Bebop live action had a budget of 6 to 7 million per episode, which is considerably less,
Right.
but it just did not hit the mark at all.
Yes. And that's how I kind of want to get into probably the most important thing is the care to the source material / the actual implementation of the adaptation, right? So the first things first, the story, it's got to be adapted to a live show, because the timing's different, right? Maybe you have 45 to an hour long episodes, and you're not going to be able to get through a whole anime arc in a reasonable amount of time with live action. So there's constraints to the pacing of it. So they have to make some changes. They gotta massage it a little bit. And so this gonna be different, but you don't want to lose the message. You don't want to lose the meaning. You want the characters to stay similar. Did you notice any major differences without kind of spoiling it?
Yeah,
talk about?
we're talking about a source material that's been out for 25 years now. So,
Right.
we're not spoiling much if we talk about it in that sense. But
Yeah, for sure.
there were definitely a few things. I noticed that they included Kobe's story a lot more in the live action, which I enjoyed. I enjoyed seeing more of Garp and seeing it from the standpoint of the Marines. One thing that really stood out to me was the lack of the Usopp pirates. That had me down bad. Those kids were fun.
They really were. They really were.
To make it fit, they removed a major part of one of the arcs. I don't want to get into too much details if you haven't seen it, but they took out an entire pirate crew and just wiped it from the show, basically.
Oh, that's very, very unfortunate.
And the reason they did that was to introduce Arlong in a different way.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so they did that to keep the story flowing more. Because if they included the scene with Don Krieg, the Krieg pirates, it probably would have went an extra 2 episodes. I would say
probably 2. Yeah, for how the pacing is, probably an extra 2 episodes.
At least one.
Yeah, at the very least, one, probably two. It could have gone three if you really wanted it to. And that's what you got to be cognizant of. They did this in 8 episodes, hour long. They did very well with their time, and that's the most important thing to me. Is like, how do you change things to still make sense and still be One Piece without it losing the meaning? And I thought what you said, the first thing you said, it showing more of Kobe's story and getting us emotionally attached to him and what he wants to do with his life. I thought they did Luffy really, really well, um, making him more realistic, not having crazy facial expressions. You can't do that. That's one thing you're going to lose always when you come to live action. They're not going to have the huge eyes and they can't twist their lips however they want. So you have to dial it back and make it believable. And I think they did a really good job with that with every character. It felt more natural, right?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think they knocked the casting out of the park on it, and I honestly think my favorite character in this adaptation is Buggy.
Hell yeah.
Jeff Ward did such a fantastic job with that role. And it took him from being more of a sideshow clown that we know and love Buggy as in today's One Piece to actually being a pretty scary pirate. I
He
mean,
was scary, man. He really was scary. I was going to say that was going to be my favorite actor, my favorite adapted character. Bucky was a fucking menace. He was actually scary. Like if I was like 10 years old, like that dude might haunt my dreams.
yeah,
So
that big red real nose is scary looking.
it is so bad. Um, my favorite like visually, my character visually was Craig Fabras as Chef Zeph. I thought the mustache and everything was really, really cool. How they did it. It was like a braided mustache. It was nuts.
Oh, definitely, dude. I mean, that had to be take so long to. I don't know if it was real, but I mean, if you grew that out, that had to take it. That's some dedication right there. But if that's real, I would have rocked that shit to the day I die, man. That shit was fucking clean.
Yes, sir. I mean, that took some work. That took some work. One thing I really thought they did a good job, and it was so quick but impactful. And this is something Tyler said in the notes as well, even though he's not here with us, is he loved how they introduced the bounties.
I thought that was so clean.
It was so awesome, bro. It was so awesome.
Like the
Um,
first time they did it with Buggy, I was like, that's kind of weird.
mhm.
And then they did it again. I was like, oh no, this is what they're doing now. Cause I was like, why the hell did he just swat at the air? And
Right,
like,
but
I
they
kind of
they all
didn't put
did
it
that.
together.
Yeah, yeah, that's how they're introducing them, man. Because especially the beginning part of the story in One Piece, that kind of gives you their power level. That kind of sets up who they are and how big of a baddie they are. And I think it's a great thing to always do for the live action for this. That way, it doesn't even have to be said. Like you just immediately know this guy's a problem. He has a higher bounty. He has a 10 billion, a 10,000, 10
No,
million
we're in the millions
10
right now.
million higher than the last guy that Luffy fought. So this guy's a big problem. So like that's just simple, easy. It takes 5 seconds, but it looks cool as fuck. I think another thing that you kind of have to take into account is the visual adaptations that we were just talking about. Um, you're gonna lose the funky faces. I don't think the hair can be too crazy. They pulled it off with Zeph very, very well. But if you don't have the budget for that makeup and that dress, can get a little nuts. Um, but like like for example, like whenever they do a Dragon Ball remake, they should never try to make Goku's hair exactly. It's just not gonna work. You know what I'm
Oh, when they did the Dragon Ball live action, it was so bad. Dragon Ball Evolution was
saying?
terrible, but they just gave like Goku like spiky hair,
That's
which was
what you
fine.
should do. Yeah, like you should just do that.
And they
Um,
made Piccolo look like a green man.
um, and I really so another thing that Tyler said is like he really liked like the funnier vibe that they did. Um, it's good. It's not serious, and as as far as the adaptations of the character, I think they nailed it as far as like the right amount of humor. I actually don't really like Usopp as comedy relief in One Piece, like the real not the real one, but the main One Piece, the animated. But him in this live action, I thought was really good. Him just like getting drunk, telling lies at a bar like a drunken person does. Um, it was actually entertaining to me, and it was so good to go from like cringy in the animation to him actually being entertaining and adding something to the story. I think even in more impactful way early in the story.
Oh, definitely. And I mean, another thing that they did a really good job with in regards to the Straw Hats is the way they portrayed Sanji's character, who, as we all know, has some very pervy comedic relief. They cleaned it
Hmm.
up. They cleaned it up really well for the Western audience. I mean, yeah, Sanji got his remarks out there about the ladies, and
But he was just smooth with it though. Like
he
it
was,
wasn't
yeah,
like gross or off putting. Like it was like he was trying to lay down like actual game. And I was like,
mm,
okay, this is respectable. Like he's just showing he's interested.
yeah,
That's it.
no nosebleeds yet.
Yeah,
We'll have
no
to see if they'll
nosebleeds.
continue.
Oh, that would be so bad.
That'd be
That would be
funny.
so bad. Um, dude, did you like how they did the powers in the show, like the gum gum fruit?
I did. I was kind of worried about it, but I think they did a good job with it. I mean, like when they're fighting the Marines originally and Luffy hits him with the kick. That shit was fucking clean, man. They did a good job with it.
Yeah. Yes. And like
And
even like outside of like the big attacks, I really liked how they mixed it in with his just like his regular fighting, where he's like hopping over people and around people, and like he's not always stretching his arm out, 10 meters. Sometimes it's just a couple of feet to catch people off guard real quick and keep going. And I thought that was cool how they mixed it up. It didn't look too crazy. It looked how somebody would actually use that in real life. I'm not
yeah,
gonna swing my arm back all the time. I'm just gonna like extend it by a couple inches, and you'd be like, "What the fuck happened?"
and I did like too how they brought up how Luffy yells at his attacks. And his response was, well, everybody yells out their finishing moves. And they didn't have Luffy just going gum 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 the entire time. But when it was impactful, they had it. I liked that
Yes,
a lot.
yes, that was really really good. Um, I think they did a really good job at showing us people. And yeah, even yeah, it looked better than what I thought. I was really worried because we got that like scene where he's showing Kobe his gum gum fruit powers and he like stretches out his cheek like 2 feet, and it was really off putting. I was wondering if it was going to be that same way throughout the entire show, and it was actually very gracefully done.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I mean, like even with the other, I mean, I think we technically only saw two devil fruits so far, right?
Gum gum and then chop chop. Yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, they even did a really good job with Buggy's devil fruit, and Buggy's devil fruit is a ridiculous power. I mean,
honestly, brother, like I was very impressed with that. I was very very impressed. Um, how they made like his body kind of like I was wondering how they were going to do the actual separation, right? I think once you get his body apart in pieces, it becomes easier because it's just things flying around. But then like showing it like popping off of his body and like how he like puts if he puts weight into it when he does it, it was very very good acting and very good CGI that way.
oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I think that it's crazy to go back and think because I mean, devil fruits were considered super rare when you first started watching One Piece or reading One Piece.
Yes.
And now everybody and their mother has a freaking devil fruit, you know? So it's like crazy to go back and think about it and be like, actually, no, there were no other devil fruits introduced for like,
A minute.
I mean, yeah, because the live action
The
covered,
next one we see in the actual the normal show, I believe is Crocodile, right?
I think we see a couple before Crocodile with the Baroque works
Oh no, no,
or
no. We
bounty
actually see
hunters.
one on what island is God Usopp from? Because the cat crew actually has a couple people with devil fruits. Not in this show, but in the original. But it
That's
was only
right.
like one or two people. Yeah, I think it was actually one person. So yeah, they were very rare, and like you could even tell in the main show, like when people were like start fighting with them, everybody around would be like, "What the fuck's going on? What's wrong with these people? Are they using magic?" But once you get on the Grand Line, they're like, oh, they have devil fruit powers.
Everybody's got a devil fruit. You go to your local grocery store and buy a devil fruit. But
oh, speaking of the devil fruits, I thought this was great a great way to like tie in the source material. When Luffy originally eats the devil fruit, the Gomu Gomu no Mi, they make it to where like it's calling him out. And um devil fruits do that. You typically people don't eat them by accident. They call out to them and they find the devil fruit and they eat it. So I thought that was really cool how he like found it amongst all of Shank's treasure and was like, "Ooh, the fuck is this?"
I'm
So
hungry. I'm
you're
always
right.
hungry.
Exactly. So there was a they did so much well. Do you think it would have went as well without Oda being involved?
No, 100% not. I mean, I
Okay.
still think it would have been a good adaptation, but not potentially a great one.
Right. Because it was number 1 on Netflix
I think it
today,
still
I
is.
believe.
Yeah, it's been number one this whole time, so it's still number one.
Oh, I thought it was hanging out at number 2 for the first like day or two and then it went to
Well,
number 1.
no. So how Netflix does it is the first day of show's release, it doesn't make it on the top 10.
Oh,
It's all
okay.
based on the data for the next day, so it's been number one since the day after it released.
Oh, so pretty much since the Giddy.
Yeah,
Cool. All right. So obviously a big success if you can make it to the top of the Netflix charts, but I do wonder if it's just us One Piece fans gassing this shit up, or if it's new, actually bringing new people into it. You know, like what are your thoughts about the possibilities of this actually spurring people on to watch One Piece?
I definitely think that that is going to happen. I mean, I've talked to some of my friends who enjoy anime, and they're like, "Yeah, my girlfriend said she'd watch this, but she won't watch anime."
Okay.
I mean, Katie said she'd watch it, and she cannot stand anything animated. She'll watch the
Okay.
crappiest crap on TV, but the minute it's animated, not interested.
You know what that frustrates me about when people say that. I don't like outwardly get frustrated, but it's like, come on, give it a shot.
It's a different medium. Just enjoy it. You're watching
Right.
you're watching some crappy dating show.
Exactly.
Come on.
It's and they even call it trash TV. So um brutal. It can be brutal. Um but yeah, I thought this was so well done. Shanks was another character I thought they did really, really well, and I wasn't too sure how that would go. And his whole crew was really cool. Um, phenomenal stuff, man.
Oh, definitely. I mean, you had the scene with Lucky Roo beating up a pirate with a fucking chicken drumstick.
I was scrolling looking for his name because I had to bring that up. The
Loved it.
yeah, man could probably beat that dude up without it, but he's like, I'm just gonna smack you with my dinner because this is way better.
Lucky Roo's always eating a piece. He's always eating something, dude. So it's
Yes.
good they made it be as a weapon. I was crying.
I will say some of the fight scenes do feel a little corny. They don't seem impactful. There was a couple of times when say like they're fighting like the Marines or like, some like robbers like the Shanks crew was fighting at the bar. It was funny watching some of them like get touched and they would just fall over. It
Oh, don't
was
say that.
what do you mean?
I didn't even notice that. Don't say that to me.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Oh no.
But yeah, I thought it was good, but like there was definitely moments like that, and some of them were funnier than the others, and some of them were like, "Oh, that dude can't be that weak." Um, so like it's not. I'm not gonna try to like paint the picture where like it was all good, but it was way closer than to what I would want in a live action anime piece to be.
Yeah,
But yeah,
and one thing that I was really surprised about was like my concern with One Piece was the fact that like it's a goofy show with a lot of crazy powers in it, and I was really concerned if they were actually gonna be able to like portray that. But they did
yes,
such a good job with it. And then you watch like Cowboy Bebop, which is guns, and they struggled. So it's interesting to see that you can take a fantasy show and not have an issue with it.
Yes. Yes. I mean, I think a lot of it does come down to budget because you think about it with Cowboy Bebop, $6-7 million an episode seems like a lot of money, but you have to pay so many people and do so much with that $6 or $7 million. I think that's not a lot of money, especially something like Cowboy Bebop where you have to use so much CGI. And then it comes down to like, okay, how much do we have to use, and what quality is that going to be for that portion of the budget? So I could see how they could get tripped up on it, but I think you get that 17 and a quota in business. It seems, and you
Yeah.
can also get away with a lot less for One Piece because not all of it needs to be CGI. A lot of what we were looking at it was built props. So I imagine that's probably cheaper than doing CGI.
Which is
For
crazy.
some things. For some
It's
things,
crazy to think, like
yes,
building a
the going merry.
boat. Building a
Yeah.
boat is not cheap. How did you feel about the sheephead?
I thought it was about as good as it was going to be. I didn't particularly like it, but it was good enough.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I wish it was a little more cartoony, especially with how goofy they fucking made Mary, the
Butler,
the character Mary.
Yeah.
He's not a butler; he's an accountant essentially.
Oh yeah, he is accountant. Yeah, you're right.
Like they made him look so goofy, and you got to pour a little out for him, man. I didn't like that they changed that part of the story.
Yeah, that was pretty tough. And then another thing that I really liked was the wardrobe.
Yeah,
The
no,
wardrobe was phenomenal. I thought
Mihawk strip.
untouchable, per usual. Um, Zoro, I was worried about how they were going to do like the little belly warmer thing. I think they did a really, really good job with it. And Usopp was drippy too. Usopp was absolutely drippy. I didn't like Luffy's like overalls. I feel like they should have just like put like some big ass buttons on there instead of like the little clips that you get from like your Levi overalls.
And just made a Mario.
Something different than like the metal. It just seemed like it was like just some basic store bought shit.
Yeah, I just don't like I didn't like the fact that they put him in overalls in general because I don't think he ever really wore overalls in the anime, right?
I don't think so. I think he's usually, red vest.
Yeah. So I'd be interested to see and go back if he ever actually did. I did like how they changed the wardrobes up though, versus just having them wear the same clothes every single day because makes sense.
Right, but One Piece also does that. Like they change clothes every arc, and not a lot of anime does that.
Yeah,
I thought that was really cool because I mean, in my opinion, One Piece has some of the best drip in anime. Robin Water 7. There's a couple of others. I think one of my favorites is Luffy from what do you call it? Punk Hazard with the red stripes. Like there's like they have so many outfits that are just fire as fuck. And so I'm glad they're changing up wardrobe.
You're gonna love the next arc.
They dripped
after
out.
Wano. Oh, they big dripped out.
Oh wait, let's go, boy.
They big dripped out.
Fit check.
One thing I really loved talking about wardrobes is so when you first meet Nami,
yeah,
she is wearing the outfit that she had in one of Oda's like original character designs for her. When like she had like a metal leg or arm or some shit and had a giant battle axe.
Uh-huh.
But she had the exact same outfit on. So like those white and orange tights. Yeah. They did a really good job with it. I love how they brought that in.
Yeah, I remember seeing that online somewhere. I can't remember where. Probably Twitter. But yeah, they pulled a lot of those outfits from either covers or the different drawings that Oda's made in the past of these characters. But speaking of the past, did you notice that the first episode was called Romance Dawn?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fucking awesome. Like I love little shit like that. But for anybody in the audience that is not familiar with Romance Dawn, it's like the original brainchild of Oda for One Piece. So it has Luffy and Shanks and people in it, and they're like in a similar world with a similar story, but it's just like his first couple of renditions while he's dialing in One Piece. So if you go Google Romance Dawn, you'll see Luffy, Garp, Shanks in it. And it's very, very, very similar, but it ain't One Piece.
Yeah, it was a one shot for. It wasn't Jump, but it was another anime magazine.
Yes.
So it was really cool that they put that in there. I mean, some of the episode names were awesome. Like the girl with the sawfish shark tattoo, whatever they called it.
Okay. I haven't gotten to it yet.
So it's a play on the girl with the dragon tattoo, which is a very popular book and movie. So they did a great job bringing things like that into it. Dead Man Tell No Tale was one. Like they did an awesome job just bringing like pirate references and references from other media and including some One Piece stuff in there too. So I really enjoyed that.
Yes. And like you can tell Oda was definitely a part of this, and that the directors and producers had at least read, and not only read, but it understood the story and respected it. Because you got so much pulled from the source material. Things were changed, but still were true to the source material, and like down to the outfits that we're just talking about. Pulling those off of covers, like that's going deep. Like I love that. It felt respected. And it felt respectful. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this was a great, I don't want to say a swan song, but a great tribute to Oda and to One Piece as a whole. I thought they did a fantastic job. The casting through the roof.
They nailed it on the casting. But yeah, it was just, I think the front to back, I have been enjoying it. I think I'm on episode 5 or 6. I think I'm on episode 6 right now. And even knowing One Piece and I have just read most of the East Blue a couple of months ago. I've watched the East Blue a couple of times. How they changed it kept me entertained. I think that was my favorite part. I think if I was just watching live action, what happened in our main story, it would have been kind of like, okay, but why? You know?
Yeah.
But I think this had its own purpose.
Yeah, and one thing I thought was really interesting is there were some critics out there. I believe it was an IGN critic said that it stuck too closely to the source material, but they changed so much stuff. I mean, Kuro only had 2 pirates. That whole fight took place in the mansion. It didn't take place on the beach.
Right.
You've got things with, I mean, they deleted the Don Krieg pirates from existence besides one guy. They changed how Arlong was introduced. They removed a bunch of characters. One that I'm kind of curious about if they decide to continue this is they left out Hachi or Hachan, whatever his name is, the octopus pirate in the Arlong group who fights Zoro. And he's such a big part of the Fishman Island arc. And that's a pretty big part of his backstory. They talk about it quite a bit. So I'd be interested to see how they handled that. Like, I guess in Sabayoti too, because that's where they first meet him again. So I'd be interested to see how they handle that. It's like, oh yeah, I just wasn't at Arlong Park that day. It's like, that's dumb.
Yeah, I really thought they did a good job of how much they drew from the source material. So I don't know what that IGN person's talking about personally. I thought they changed enough to make the storytelling work in a lot of time. They packed a bunch. I mean, like I said, I'm 5 hours in. I'm on episode 6. And they've packed so much of One Piece into 5 hours of watch time. And give them a fucking break, man. Like they did a good job. They did a really good job. But yeah. I don't know if I would have watched this if I wasn't already a fan of One Piece. Because I'm definitely looking. I feel like I'm looking through this. I'm looking at this through rose-colored glasses. I don't know how somebody that's not into something like this would receive it, right? Because it's goofy. It's One Piece. It's going to be goofy, but I don't know. Well, like, what is your thought on that? Do we see this in a different way? You think because we are such big fans of the IP?
Yeah, I think so. But I will say that I have watched a lot of crappy shows because they're number one on Netflix.
Fair enough. I don't watch that much television.
If the show's number one on Netflix and I've got nothing to do and it could be compelling, I'm probably going to put it on because there's a reason, it's there. People are watching it. People are talking about it. And I think the best example I have is Manifest because that show sucked.
Oh, really?
But I watched all 4 seasons of it because it was always number one on Netflix. I was like, I might as well finish it.
Okay. Why is it number one? Yeah, it's like some curiosity gets you.
So I think like with that, I mean, I think it'll bring in a lot of new fans. I mean, I don't know if they're gonna go watch the anime or read the manga after, but
Mhm.
it's getting the name of One Piece out there, and that's always good.
Yes, I liked the fact I like the fact that when I say One Piece now, people are gonna know what I'm talking about. Damn near everybody's gonna know what the fuck I'm talking about, and I find that by itself really fucking cool, man. Because like I'm saying, we're gonna talk about One Piece on the podcast, and somebody doesn't really watch anime. What's One Piece? No more, no more. And have you seen the show on Netflix? Go check it out. Yeah, gonna love that. So
Definitely,
Dan,
man.
you wanna get into some ratings?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, okay. So I'm gonna ask for 2 ratings from you, and I'm gonna give one to myself. All right. Like a rating versus other live action anime pieces.
10.
Fair, fair. A rating versus other shows of fantasy and of the sort, or like superhero shows. How would you
Okay.
rate it? Like just like normally against everything else.
So I guess the way I was looking at it, I was like, if I wasn't a massive One Piece fan, looking at this through rose-colored glasses, I think I'd probably be like probably right around a 7, maybe like a 6.8,
Okay.
7.1, somewhere in there. There were some things that happened, some stuff that slipped through the cracks during production and things like that. I mean, there's a scene where Zoro's rolling over in a fight, and the Wado Ichimonji just bends in half like a fucking straw,
The
and
sword
that
got the
hurt.
second Gomu Gomu no Mi, man.
That hurt, dude. That hurt to watch that happen.
How did
That's
this get through post production? What the fuck?
it's like when you're watching, like, I mean, didn't Game of Thrones have a coffee cup on a table?
Yes, it
In the
happens.
in the One Piece trailer, one of the people who was in the crowd during Roger's execution had a fucking Apple Watch on.
Yes.
Like, but they go in and they fix that. I just don't know if they can go in and fix the sword.
Oh, okay.
So I'd be curious to see. I am really excited to watch this with the Japanese voice actors because it's actually going to be the Straw Hat Pirates, and I'm really excited to watch that.
That'd be so cool. Yeah, I'm ready for it.
It's
Honestly.
coming.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think for rating it against other live actions, I have to give it a 10. It's the best one, I think, by and far. But when we start talking about just as a general show, I doubt I would have watched this if I had never heard of One Piece. Um, or really, yeah, like in general, maybe. I would probably, is this mid? Um, I think this is like hard mid for me. I gotta give it like a 5.4 or 5.3. Um, I don't think I'd be watching it. I think people should check it out to see if they like it, but I don't watch TV much. I watch I watch anime and things like that to fill time at some points, but I don't sit in front of the TV a lot. And
Alex,
I have uh I'm not trying to come at you, Dan. I just don't. Um but I also usually have a problem with hour-long shows. They get on my fucking nerves. So that's where I'm coming from it. You might like it more or less, who knows? But I don't like hour long shows. They I guess I have a short attention span, maybe.
yeah, that sounds like a personal problem.
Skill issue.
But sorry,
It's okay. It's okay.
he said skill issue, and we have this dumb. Discord has the soundboards. We have this really dumb one in my Discord that we use all the time while playing video games. I think it's just Joe Biden going skill issue on. We play it on
Yes.
repeat.
Yes. So I got up with that one.
But yeah, I mean, like, I don't mind 1 hour shows, especially in the sense of there's like, imagine trying to watch Game of Thrones cut into 22-minute episodes,
It'd be tough.
or
Yes. I've
or
watched
this.
Game of Thrones all the way through. It has to be such a good show for me to sit down and like watch it for a whole hour. Even out of like some of my favorite IPs like Star Wars, um, those are like 45 to 55-minute episodes. And like, if it doesn't catch me in the first 2 hours, I'm like, I'm done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel that.
So I have a pretty high bar for what will make me sit in front of a TV. Game of Thrones, holy shit, that thing started off in a blaze. So it got me. I'm like, oh, this is a good use of motherfucking time. Or like during the pandemic, I watched a lot of, I guess, hour-long TV. But that's one of the reasons I actually really like anime is because they do well with the other allotted 20 minutes or less.
Well, so
So
we get 1,000 episodes.
I'll take it, man. I'll take it. So, is there anything else that you wanted to say
No,
about
no,
the
I
show?
think I'm good. I guess final remarks is definitely if you're a fan of One Piece, like I know live adaptations of anime have been bad in the past, but this one was fantastic. So if you're a fan of One Piece, you got to watch it. Like it's
Yeah.
just required.
I agree with that. And like, even if you haven't watched One Piece, I think you should watch it because I think it gives you a new perspective on what live action anime can be. I think this definitely sets a new standard for the shows. I think we still have a little bit ways to go, but this is, like I've said before, by and far the closest that anyone's ever gotten to being on the mark. So if you're a fan of anime, I think you should go check it out. I
Yeah,
gave it a low
and
rating because I'm just being an asshole, I guess.
he doesn't
But
like TV.
boom. But boom. But yeah, I watch anime for a reason, man. So I definitely think you should definitely check it out. Don't let my low rating, my mid rating affect you actually watching it. And we
Yeah,
definitely want to hear what you think about the show as well. Like I'm saying, you definitely need to check this out.
yeah, and I'm usually the biggest hard ass when it comes to ratings, and I gave it like a 7. So
Right.
that should be saying something. That's me with some pretty heavy rose-colored glasses, I feel like. But yeah,
It's all good. It's all good. I'm trying my best to take them off, so I might have been a little bit more hard on it than I should be, but I'm sticking with it.
but yeah, let us know if you guys enjoyed just us talking about something that wasn't anime. I mean, it's a live action, and there's another live action adaptation coming in December that I'm really excited for.
Mm-hmm.
Yu Yu Hakusho.
December, you said? Excuse me?
December.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, and
That's awesome.
I feel like that's one they can do a really good job with.
Yes. Yes.
I
That's
mean,
not insane CGI. It didn't have to be. But there's like 18 live actions in the works right now. Like a lot of major anime are like coming out live action in the next couple of years.
yeah, there's more than I can even count.
Right.
Everything remotely good is getting one except Hunter x Hunter, I think. So that's a shame, but that's also fine because no need to ruin Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah. So, and I think that's another reason like people should actually watch this is because like it gives you something to judge these other live actions that are coming out. I'm probably because of this show going to give live actions another shot, but still be very selective about it.
You should
But
watch Dragon Ball Evolution.
You said you hated that.
Yeah, but it'd be funny.
I'm good. I'm good. But yeah, I think it just sets a new bar. I think I thought it's good. It's a good live action adaptation.
Well, awesome. We good?
I'm good to go, brother.
Let's get it, baby. Well, guys, we hope you enjoyed this abbreviated bullshit 39 minutes. We're a little light today, but we'll get back to it next week with the Shoken results. Make sure to join the Discord at linktree.com/Anime Degens, and we'll catch you next week with Tyler back, I think.